What is up, party people? Happy Monday. Watching over the weekend, watched a lot of football. Proper football. Football. Watched a little soccer, proper football. And, of course, watched the NFL yesterday. We got the Super Bowl set up. That was always interesting as well. But I watched a bunch of crap. Probably too much, right? My wife, we kind of try to Sabbath on Saturdays. That's my thing. My wife on Friday night, she cooks up a couple meals that are ready to roll, wake up the next day, and we do nothing. We do nothing as a family. Right? We have fun. We enjoy ourselves. Maybe go for a walk. But we kind of Sabbath, kind of take it in, read a little bit of the Bible, and just hang out. Don't do a lot of stuff, which is good because I'm a go. So I didn't watch or do anything on Saturday. Sunday, I did very little, but I was football. Charlie and I were doing, we were playing reading all day. We were practicing reading all day. It was great. I loved it. Then I got into it last night. And one of the things I saw was something that absolutely, for the love of goodness and gracious, pissed me off like you cannot believe. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm a red-blooded American. I love America. Like you cannot believe. I love America. I feel a little British because I lived over there for almost a decade, and I love them. When I was there, you know what I never did? Outside of goofing around when we were playing games or, when the Olympics were on or something, we'd have fun, and I'd root for America. I would never, in a million years, bring an American flag out and demand stuff. And I saw that this weekend in New York, in Chicago, in several other places where other people from other countries go out into in many cases, in places like Dallas, right in the middle of the GD Street, waving a flag, talking about how unfair life is and how America should be this and America should do that. And oh my, I am sorry. That to me is an absolute freaking no-no. You want to come to this country? Fantastic. You want to come here? Great. Do it the right way. You've come here illegally. You should know at some point in time, depending on who the sheriff is, you know what? Things may change. Things may change. But the reality is, if you're here because you want to be here because you love America, walking out in the street, waving your flag from what other country, whether the crap hole that you ran from, where you said to yourself, my life is so bad here. My life is so awful here. I cannot afford to live here anymore. My family's going to starve. We're all going to starve. It is corruption. It is crime. It is everything. Over there is the place to be. The beacon of hope, the light of opportunity, and damn it, I'm going to go for it. And you make just an absolute treacherous, insane trek to get here. Walking sometimes thousands of miles over a month or two or more, getting through cartels, getting through sex trafficking, getting through gangland violence, getting through just the run-of-the-mill criminals, getting through the fact that you don't have any food, you don't have any place to stay, you don't have any of those things. And depending on how much money you spend, you get here and the opportunity may or may not be available for you to come across in a certain way. You didn't do that to get back into your country. You didn't do that to go to the country next door. Or the 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 countries maybe you passed through to get here. No, you did it here. And to stand out and wave your flag. Oh, Venezuela. You're not trying to get back in Venezuela. Colombia. You're not trying to get back in Colombia. We'll send you. We tried to. Right? We tried to. You're not trying to do that. No, you did that to come here. To come here. It's great that you're proud of your quote-unquote nation that you once came from. Nobody's saying hate your nation, but despise for it, because I doubt you thought your nation would be what it is. Corruption, crime, all that stuff. No. But you chose to come here. And in many cases, like my grandfather, chose to come here, did it at a time when it was a little bit easier. And in doing so, became an American citizen. But the minute he got his opportunity to stay here, he was as American as it got. Apple pie, Uncle Sam, the Doyers. He was all the things. He never waved an American flag, a Mexican flag again. Never. Said if I wanted to be a Mexican, I would have stayed in Mexico. He wanted to be an American. The fact that people are out there doing it pisses me off so much. for what we do for the world, the amount of money, the advantage that other countries take on us, the fact that we give and our heart's too big. By the way, we still let in well over 1 million people legally in this country every single year. And yet, people complaining, whining, moaning, oh, geez, Chad, you don't even understand. They're going to separate people. You know what? You knew the risk. You knew the risk. But you didn't think it would happen. Do I want to see him kicking in the doors of churches or going into schools grabbing people? No, I don't think anybody wants that. But just like last week, how many of these are routine? But now they've blown up because Trump's involved. And the minute Trump gets involved, everything becomes way bigger than it needs to. And that is frustrating. That is absolutely frustrating. So when I watched that this weekend, I told my wife, I am so pissed because that's the stuff right there. That's the stuff. Zero appreciation. Zero appreciation because you're out there. I couldn't even fathom when I moved to the UK. I mean, it's different now because the UK is just a hot mess. But moving over there when I did, rooting against England, cheering for everything, asking for all the free stuff I can get my hands off. Dude, I couldn't even imagine any of that stuff. Marching with the American flag going, ha-ha, do you guys remember when you fought us, we kicked your butt? Ha, nice try. How's that tea now? Couldn't even imagine that. Oh, that would have been funny. But alas, here we are. And it's happening. The stuff is going on. The tariffs are coming, all of that stuff over the weekend. The big thing with Colombia.
Just moments ago, Donald Trump reacting to the news that Colombia had blocked planes carrying undocumented migrants from delivering those individuals back to their home country, and Trump now retaliating with tariffs and threats of more tariffs. He said in a post on social media, quote, I was just informed that the 2 repatriation flights from the United States with a large number of illegal criminals were not allowed to land in Colombia. This order was given by Colombia's socialist president, Gustavo Petro, who is already very unpopular amongst his people.
Yeah, he is pretty unpopular amongst his people. Why is that? Because Colombia is a hot mess. It is. And we sent people.
You know, if they get some socialism up in there, they might be able to fix. Oh, wait, that's what they have.
Oh, that's what they have now. That's right. We're not taking them. That's okay. We weren't landing anyways. Everybody's got a parachute. You're going to love these. Could you imagine that? People just, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God.
Where are we landing? We're not.
Well, you're in Colombia. Some of you live here now. Oh, geez, Chad. Yeah, it's not very nice. No, it wasn't. Wasn't nice to see that this weekend. And God bless it. Again, I don't care that you're, look, people say, oh, you still like Mexican and brown people. My family's from Mexico. What do you mean? I mean, it is, you guys have no idea, zero idea. It's not the point. The point is, this is our country. And there are many people out there who are dying to get to our country. Not many are dying to get to Venezuela or Colombia. They're dying to get here. They're willing to risk everything. They're willing to send their children to the border with people they hardly know about anything. They're willing to do that. Think about that for a second. Most of you wouldn't let your kid stay at the neighbor's house. They're willing to send their kid on a trek that may involve them dying, being raped, being impregnated, being used as a drug mule. Nobody's going, oh, little Cindy there. She's on her way to Venezuela. We wish her the best. No, nobody is doing that at all. Frustrating indeed. So much stuff to get today. Yes, I watched the football game. By the way, I won. Thank you very much, Prize Picks, over the weekend. I did. I got to be honest, man. If I'm the Eagles absolutely crushed it. The Chiefs, they won the game. Frustrating indeed. And I tweeted it out last night. I said, you can't be the rival of a team, right, if you can't beat that team. It doesn't work that way because you're not the rival. I mean, am I right? I think I'm right. Like, you have to be able to beat them once in a while to become the rival. And you've lost 4 times in a row. Even the Bengals have beat them. Now, I know a lot of people out there, it's rigged, it's rigged, it's rigged. They won the game, it's rigged.
Going to a knee. You can doubt the Chiefs. You can dislike the Chiefs.
By the way, can I just say this? Never in my life have I been as excited as this guy is for anything.
You can disrespect the Chiefs. You're going to have to deal with the Chiefs being the first team in National Football League history to win back-to-back Super Bowls and go to the Super Bowl for a chance for a three-peat.
That guy was so excited. So excited. Very excited. Do I think the Chiefs are going to win? That's a good question, because I will tell you, I watched both games this weekend. I had money on both games. And Barkley, Saquon, thank you, brother.
Zeros on the clock. The Flares fly skyward.
Oh, Flares.
And the Eagles not just beat, but annihilate the Washington Commanders 55-23.
Yeah, that was a whooping.
Yeah, that was.
But you know what? I watched that game, and Jaden Daniels, by the way, quarterback of the Commanders / Redskins / whatever they're going to be next year, is freaking amazing.
He is, man.
He is so amazing.
He's like a video game.
He is. He is a video game. It's so weird because it's like watching a cross between Lamar Jackson and a little bit of Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
He's got a cannon for an arm. He never panics either. Never. They're going to be great. They're going to be fine. I didn't expect them to win. They shouldn't even have been here. But, man, they scored 7 rushing touchdowns. Can you get this because you like football? 7 rushing touchdowns? That's like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yes, in the NFL.
It was awesome. It was awesome. They were a beast. So I'm looking forward to the game. I know some people are like, I hate the NFL. I love the NFL still. It's not rigged, but I will say there's some questions to be asked on some really bad calls, including the spot that Josh Allen got. But you know what? You had several opportunities to get a first down. You had timeouts, 2 minutes left in the game, and you failed. You failed to get it done. He is living rent-free in your head, and you're the arguably the second best player in professional football, and you will be remembered as, you were pretty good, because that other guy, he's great. A lot of stuff to get to today. We're going to try to just pack it in. I got so much stuff, including an apology I have for Madam Web, because I did it. I watched it. I watched 13 Academy Award nominations, more than The Godfather, which was apparently not a good movie. Not like this.
Wait a minute. Madam Web has 13 Oscar nominations?
Amelia Perez. More than The Godfather. And if you guys thought that song we played on Friday was awful, when you hear this song today, you will think this cannot be real, because the minute I heard it, I thought, Matt and Trey from South Park are getting another Academy Award nomination. It is that bad. Oh, I sacrifice you people. That's why I love you. It is Super Talk 99.7. Birch Gold, the ultimate guide to gold in the Trump era. Right now, it's free when you text Benson to 989898. Why do you need gold? Just in case. The thing about gold is the just in case scenario. Dollar's weakening, right? Inflationary issues. What's going on in the stock market? How are you protecting yourself, your 401k, your IRA? Yes, you can even transfer all over there. Get it gold back IRA. It's about protection of what you have. And the opportunity to protect is now. So Birch is going to send you out the ultimate guide to gold in the Trump era. It's a forward done by Don Jr. On top of that, they're going to get you something, their investor toolkit. They're not going to ask you to do anything crazy. They're not going to call you every 5 minutes and go, hey, guys, you should invest with us, do this. Nope, they just want you to get the information and check it out. It doesn't cost you anything but a little bit of time. And at a time like today, right, with some uncertainty, a little bit of volatility, this is a great thing to do to protect yourself in the event of what if. Birch Gold. Text the word Benson to 989898 today to get the ultimate guide to gold in the Trump era, as well as the investor kit from Birch. 989898. You put Benson in there, send that off. It comes to you. Text the word Benson to 989898 for Birch Gold.
A rally organized for students by local gun control advocates to pressure not just state lawmakers, but local Nashville school district officials, too. We've got that story for you at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
They do the walkout yet?
Now that's going to be tomorrow.
Okay. Everybody, by the way, if I was there, even though I'm a big Second Amendment guy, like a huge Second Amendment guy, I'm walking out. Anytime to get out of school, are you kidding me?
Absolutely.
I don't care what it is. I don't care. It could be about pygmy rights. I'm like, we're on our way, guys, because I got to get out of here. These little guys got nothing going on, and we got to help them.
And I got a math test today I need
That's
to
right.
bail on.
I chose not to study for a reason because I care about pygmy rights. Yeah, that's not for us. Yeah, that's being honest. I mean, we got to care about the little people. What are the pygmies? They're
Literally.
Literally, yeah. People are like, you're talking about like small people. No, I'm talking about pygmies. People like in the rainforest, you know, the rainforest. Those are pygmies, right? But that's where they're from, right? Rainforest, somewhere like that.
No, they're from Pig.
Oh,
They're from the country Pig.
see, he's going to get us in trouble. Not me. That's that right there is Headless Bell.
It's Bell's fault.
That's right. It's bad. But every one of us would have been like, oh, dude, did you hear we're marching out? I would have marched out all the time. I'd be on the table at lunch going, we got to find a reason to get out of here. Like there's stuff going on at lunch. After lunch, man, I did not study for my history test. I didn't even know we had one. We got to get. This is really a poor situation for everybody involved. So let's hear it for all those people.
Absolutely, dude.
Oh, today people freaked out because of the Chinese and their new AI.
The new AI model from DeepSeek, a Chinese tech firm, rivals and occasionally surpasses models from American companies. On its own, that would be enough to worry Silicon Valley, but DeepSeek also used far fewer computer processors to develop its model, and therefore spent far less money doing so. The company says it cost less than $6 million to develop its V3 LLM. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman says one of its recent models cost more than $100 million.
Yes, because ours do a lot more. Everybody's like, oh my God, they've changed everything. No, what they've done, remember, they may unleash some stuff out here that's great, but their large language models are always going to have issues because they don't allow them to be the large language models they should. And yes, it is easy to produce something for $6 million if you've got the kind of slave labor that they can use and work their people to the bone all the time with the threat of, who knows what. But do I think this is the end all to be all? Because it has sent the markets sideways. I mean, they lost $1 trillion today in, from NVIDIA and all of these companies. That's great. I mean, like, oh my God, it's not. It's going to be a bounce back. It'll be fine. But I saw people panicking. So I talked to a couple of my buddies today and going, dude, how good is it? And they're like, is it good? Yes. For what it is, for $6 million, it's incredible. But will it do everything it needs to do? No. And that's why AI, though, that's the battle. Like we talked about it last week, how important it was for that AI thing that Trump did, right, with Stargate and Sam Altman, how important that is. Because this is the battlefield right now. Like the number one battlefield isn't actually the battlefield. It's not even a trade war. It's none of that stuff. It is this, because this is long term in a way that we can't even see right now. But they're always going to have a limit to what a lot of their stuff is going to be able to do if they don't allow it to do the thing, which is grow. And when I was talking to my buddy, he told me, he said, so let me tell you about how fast that ChatGPT, for instance, is learning. In October, it had like an 85 IQ. By January, it was, it was about 110. By the end of this month, which is not too far away, it'll be 150 to 170. That's the pace that it's learning. And the other thing is, no offense, China, I don't always trust everything you do. Because the last time I checked, and this is just the last time I checked, sometimes it's smoke and mirrors. Am I right? I've ordered an extra large shirt that's not extra large for anybody I know. You ever get a shirt and you're like, maybe I put on a few LBs. I know I didn't get taller. Oh, my goodness me. But the panic was real today. It'll be fine. Buy the dip, as the kids would say. Buy the dip. Coming up. Oh, man, we got so much stuff. Trump was looking at this weekend when they were talking about Gaza. It was kind of funny. He's like, what are we going to look at this place? Look at all the look at this. Look at this. Is this sand? Looks beautiful. Looks great. You know what's going through his mind. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Plus, my apologies coming to Madam Webb, because I did sacrifice some good family time for maybe the worst movie. And I thought Madam Webb was the worst movie. I thought there's nothing could be worse than this.
Come on, give us a hint.
Just let me say this. As bad as that song was I played the other day for you guys, and you guys remember how horrible it's...
Yeah.
This song that is going to be is nominated for an Academy Award is arguably the worst song I've ever heard. And I thought to myself, did they just make it up as they go? Was this a parody? It was not. We will talk about that. This is why Trump, people. This is why Trump. Remember, politics, pop culture, it all flows in the same direction. I don't think people realize that. It is the Chad Benson Show. Super Talk 99.7.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. A rally scheduled over at the state capitol in about an hour. Students organized by local activists after last week's deadly Antioch High School shooting. Going to ask Governor Lee to include gun control in the special session that starts today. Channel 4 talked to a student organizer who says they're not just targeting state lawmakers, but Metro Nashville Public Schools board members and the superintendent, too.
There's been gun threats. They have not done a single thing after this, which makes me upset. Time after time again, they've showed that they are not listening to their students. So we're just ready to take the next steps in order to make Metro Nashville Public Schools a safer place.
From depression to diabetes to dementia, researchers finding that exercise can reduce the risk of all of those diseases in older people. ABC's Jim Ryan tells us about a study published this morning in the Canadian Medical Association Journal.
Just 2.5 hours a week of moderate activity, something as simple as walking the dog, can have a major impact on overall health. With about 17% of Americans now over 65 years old, the authors of the study are urging physicians to prescribe exercise to their patients to avoid having to prescribe medications.
At the United Nations today, an observance of International Holocaust Remembrance Day, exactly 80 years after the liberation of the Auschwitz death camp, where a survivor spoke at a ceremony today in Poland.
We will never, never, ever allow history to repeat itself.
That's 86-year-old Tova Friedman, who was just 6 years old when the camp was liberated, warning about rising levels of hatred and anti-Semitism in the world today. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Beacon Capital Management, right now, they got a retirement ready toolkit, which is what you need. So, obviously, the recent presidential election has most of us wondering what's going to be affected. And we've just talked about what's happening right now in the stock market. Our money, investments, or even our retirement. Well, you're not alone. A lot of people worry about that. Beacon can help you. They're local right here. Sit down and talk with you about everything that is going on. You deserve the confidence to know, no matter what is going on, no matter what is happening out there, they have a plan to keep your financial goals in line with your life's priorities. Simple and easy to do. It's of no cost to you if you're nearing retirement or maybe you're in it. Beacon Capital Management has a free retirement ready toolkit just for you. You're going to get Money Enough for Life. It's a book about retirement planning, a checklist, and maximizing your retirement income white paper. Cost you nothing. There's no obligation. And once again, zero pressure when it comes to Beacon. Call 615-488-9303 to get your free retirement-ready toolkit today. That's 615-488-9303, 615-488-9303 for Beacon. Bzzz. Hey, it's New Year, new comfort. Yeah, that's right. I'm talking about, baby. Busy Bee. They got winter warm-up specials from Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. So when it comes to HVAC, guys, you got to be smart, right? You can't beat these deals. Check this out. Free air duct cleaning with the purchase of a new, complete whole home AC. Free air duct cleaning packages upgrade. So you buy like the one in the center. They're going to give you the up top big one right there, which is awesome. Deluxe packages, free furnace checkup, all that stuff. Plus, you got to worry about your plumbing, too. Don't let that get crazy. Busy Bee is there for you. They got 15% off air quality products. And how about the complimentary smart thermostat? It's very smart indeed. That's with any HVAC replacement, a $200 value free for you. So what are you waiting for? If you're worried about what's going on with your HVAC, maybe your plumbing, you want to get ahead of stuff for sure, especially this time when it's still chilly outside. Busy Bee has you ready to rock and roll. And right now, they want you to give them a call. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Call 775-7833, right? And here's the thing. You want to be part of that famous Busy Bee High Club. You know you do. Call them today, 775-7833. That's 775-7833. Or visit them at busybeehvac.com. So today is Holocaust Remembrance Day. I don't think a lot of people, when I hear people scream about Trump, he's a Nazi. I'm like, no, he's not.
No, he's literally Hitler.
He's
I was
literally
told
Hitler.
that.
Yeah, he's Hitler. It's just when I hear that, it pisses me off. Should piss you off too. You don't have to like Trump. I always tell people, if you don't like Trump, I got no problem with that. You don't have to like Trump.
You can hate him without minimizing the Holocaust.
Absolutely. And every time you say something about the Holocaust or Trump being a Nazi or Hitler, this is the Fourth Reich, here comes Trump. Every time I hear that, do you even understand what that's all about? Do you even understand what those people went through? Most people don't. So one of my best friends growing up, Ray Ray. What's up, Ray Ray? Anyway, watches once in a while. Uber progressive, by the way. Love him to death. His grandma and grandpa. His grandma and grandpa. I remember when we were kids, because my dad had tattoos all over, right? Like they were, and I'm talking, we're like Charlie's age, 6, 7, 8. And so seeing tattoos on anybody was no big deal. Their tattoos were different, though, because their tattoos were numbers. And their tattoos were from a concentration camp. And as I got older and sat down and talked with them, as I got more and more into history and having traveled the world and stuff, listening to their story of being in an actual train cart, being taken somewhere where you have no idea what's going to happen to you, getting somewhere and having your mother and father snatched away from you.
And you're literally in that boxcar being treated like you are nothing more than a side of beef.
Yeah. And you're not even, you know what? The side of beef was probably treated a lot better.
Actually, that's a good point.
And this is one of the last years that, there's going to be a lot. Just like World War II, you're finding people who are, every year it's less and less survivors of World War II. It's the same thing for the Holocaust. Now, the difference between the Holocaust and World War II survivors as far as people that were in the war is you were usually 18, 19, 20, where you've got young people like Tova here who was a survivor, and she was a child when she went through this.
I stood and watched helplessly as little girls from the nearby barrack were marched away crying and shivering to the gas chamber.
Think about that for a second. The heinous things that Hitler and the Reich did. The vile, disgusting things. So when I hear people compare Trump, and it's like, oh, what he's doing now to get rid of people that are in this country illegally is just, no. We're not even on the same page. The vast majority of people they're going after when it comes to immigration are people who are not only here illegally, but people who've committed crimes, people who are wanted for crimes, people in many cases who have gone through the system that everybody says, you gotta just trust the system, Chad. If you trust the system, it's gonna work. And then when the system is put to the test and they say, hey, you do not qualify to be in this country. You do not qualify for asylum. You must go, and you still stay. And people say, well, we shouldn't trust the system. No, you should. That's why it's there. But when I hear people talk about Trump or the Republicans and say that they're the Third Reich, they're Nazis, they're all of these things, sorry. You don't understand what it was like. None of us understand what it was like.
We all of us, must reawaken our collective conscience to transform this violence, anger, hatred, and malignancy that has so powerfully gripped our society.
She's right. And I know people say, well, look at Trump, the things that Trump says. No, Trump is very American. There's nothing wrong with loving your country. There's zero wrong with loving your country. You should absolutely love your country. Somehow loving your country along the way, especially in the West, has become this thing where you're a nationalist, where you hate everybody and everything. You don't. Is Trump saying, hey, we should round them all up? No, he's demonizing just like, settle down. Settle down. And you know it and I know it. And if you're out there and you're listening to this and you're on the left side of the aisle, you know that the rhetoric he talks about is just, no, it does not echo anything close to that. It doesn't. And you know it. And every time you say something, every time you say he's a Nazi, every time you say he's just like Adolf Hitler, and right, he's like Adolf, and you look over in the vice president, he's Goebbels, all right, and you look over here, and this guy is, no, it's not. It's not. You diminish that. You diminish the people and what they went through.
I thought that we all have to die. That it was normal. If you're a Jewish child, you have to die.
That it was normal. To think that as a child, that it's normal. She was the same age as my daughter. I couldn't even fathom being taken away from her, put into a shower, and waiting. Because they had heard what was going on. So they knew what was happening. Just when. Not if, but when. So you had Auschwitz and you had Birkenau. One was the work camp, the other was the death camp. And you knew, though. Wasn't if, but when. But 80 years ago today, the Russians liberated. And it is a reminder that when we use certain language about this person's like that or this person's like this, let's really think about it for a second on what we're comparing them to. Yes, sir. You look like you want to say something, Bill.
No, I had a thought, but it probably best not to say it.
He's got lots of thoughts. What do you think of the new studio, Bill? I haven't said anything.
I think it looks awesome.
I do too. I think Ian and them did a great job. I came in here yesterday. If you guys are watching it on the live cast, thank God. Got Super Talk TV. It's new, so people it's a little uncomfortable.
If you haven't seen it, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, under the Super Talk 99.7 banner.
Yeah. People are chiming in. The Boy in the Striped Pajamas is amazing. If you've never seen that movie, that book is awesome. And because, you think about these Nazis, these real Nazis. There were people there to run the camp. And they lived next door to the camp. Their kids are playing outside, and they're like, is it snowing? No, it's not snowing.
That's ash.
Yes, think about that. That is just in-freaking-sane. But The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, great. Obviously, Schindler's List is just otherworldly if you've never seen it. Just a movie that is incredible. Like, of all the movies, I mean, it's no Amelia Perez. Are you guys ready? Ken, are you ready?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I'm going to play, if you guys didn't hear, on Friday we played this song that was pretty much one of the great songs I've ever played on here. I want you guys to listen to this.
Black and indigenous, people of color. Black and indigenous, people of color. Lesbian, gay, bi, transgender, and queer.
Okay, now I thought, well, that song is, yeah, that's, now I'm going to play a song. So this movie, Amelia Perez, no Schindler's List again, it's no Godfather. Shouldn't never get, I mean, those are otherworldly. Those are otherworldly, those movies. This movie sets them all on fire because of the greatness of the movie. I don't even think you guys even understand how amazing it is. First of all, if you want to see horrible stereotypes about Mexicans, watch this movie. The director is French. He doesn't speak English or Spanish, so boy, that didn't go well.
Oh.
Secondly, yeah, let's just say, it's about a cartel member, the head of the cartel. So think of El Chapo, who's decided he wants to live his best life. You're saying, what's his best life, Chad? Well, his best life is as a woman, because he is going to change who he is, become the woman he's always dreamed of being. So he sends Zoe Saldana, his, smoking hot, by the way, always and everything, who sends her over to Bangkok to learn about this. This is an actual song in an actual movie that is nominated for 13 Academy Awards.
Hello, very nice to meet you. I'd like to know about the exchange operation.
Sí.
For me. What is the part of technique and the risks? Operations. Yeah. Yes. 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 What is that? Yes. Yes.
That is a movie that has got 13 Academy Awards.
Oh, my.
And even for them, even for Hollywood's insanity, this is not only a bridge so far. I cannot find anybody who doesn't smell their own farts and thinks they're amazing from California or New York that thinks this is any good. It is arguably, and I thought, and I want to apologize, Dakota Johnson's still an awful actress. Let's just get that out there right away. Madam Web is still a horrible movie. But this movie is the worst movie. And whoever said, you know what, we should totally do this, should be fired. Forever. From everything. And it just walks on in. First of all, musicals are stupid, as we know. But, like, how did Oz not get nominations for certain things when it comes to singing? How did that not happen? And this did. I'd like to know you now. It's awful.
That's terrible.
That is. And that is what you have now. This is it. You guys have done this to yourself, Hollywood. When I saw this, the first thing that came to my mind, this is why Trump. This is why Trump. And if you go and look at the ratings, by the way, go have fun with it. Go to Rotten Tomatoes, type it in. I think it's got like a 70 for the critics. It's got like a 10 or 12 or something like that for it got review bombed because it's the worst movie ever made. Ever.
Goodness. How long did you have to sit through this?
It's like 2 hours, hour and a half. And the singing's just brutal.
So we're taking Waterworld out of this equation, right?
It blows Waterworld away. No, Waterworld's awful, But there was a reason Waterworld was a bomb. There was a reason.
Yeah.
My buddy worked on it. It was awesome. They were going through they were getting acquired. I think it was Sony or whatever was getting acquired. And they were going to eat up all the debt. That was one of the big things. So they told Costner, spend all the money. If something sinks, don't even get it up. Just rebuild a new one. Get the extras. Tell them they can all sleep in the luxury. Give everybody lobster. We don't care. So that was a lot of the fun. But this is, I mean, come on, listen to this writing. The first thing I heard of, I was like, this cannot be an actual movie. But it is. It's an actual movie. There you guys go. I gave it to you guys right there. Woo! Coming up. Trump wants to do something with Gaza. The first thing I heard of, and then I saw a picture of Jared Kushner going, yeah, this is some valuable land. I thought, here we go. Here we go. We'll talk a little bit about that, bunch of other stuff. Straight ahead, it is the Chad Benson Show. Super Talk 99.7. I just want to say something. I won this weekend. Thank you very much to all my friends who helped me on Prize Picks. Who's that? Mr. Saquon Barkley. Thank you very much. Jaden Daniels. Thank you very much. And, of course, Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes. What is Prize Picks? It's fantasy. It's daily. It's an opportunity to earn 1,000 times your money, and it's simple and easy to do. You don't pick teams. You pick players. Playoffs are still here. Opportunities abound, but it's every single day. They got bonuses, great ways to play. You just set your lineup. So yesterday, I picked to go above, right? Mahomes was going to rush for more than 38.7 yards, and I knew that Josh Allen was going to throw for more than 1.5 touchdowns. They both did. I win. It was that simple, and you can do the same thing. Here's the other thing. Use my code Chad. The minute you do, and you play your first $5 lineup, guess what you get? 50 extra bones right there. Boom, baby. It's Prize Picks. Check it out. Simple and easy to do. Download the app today. Use my code Chad to get fixed 50 extra dollars the minute you use my code Chad and you play your first $5 picks. It's that simple. It is so easy. And you guys, it's a lot of fun too. And they got tons of stuff you can do to win. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Wall Street is responding to China's new artificial intelligence model. We'll tell you about it at 1 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
As he arrived at the Pentagon for his first workday as Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth told reporters of coming executive orders affecting transgender service members and those who were kicked out of the military for refusing to be vaccinated for COVID.
The lawful orders of the President of the United States will be executed inside this Defense Department swiftly and without excuse.
Hegseth also pledged further military support for mass deportations and for security along the border.
Which is what we need, security along the border. But mass deportations, if you're here illegally. Did you not know the risk? Was it like, no way you knew the risk? Of course you knew the risk. You just thought it would never happen. If you're here illegally and you've committed a crime, they're coming for you. Doesn't mean some people that aren't here, who've done nothing, aren't going to get caught up and swept up in something. That's going to happen. But again, you're here illegally. And for some people, it's frustrating. But I look at both the Republicans and Democrats. You've had how many decades? 4 decades to sort something out with immigration that was real, and you didn't do a darn thing with it. You didn't. You failed miserably. At every turn, you decided to do something else because immigration, like abortion, like gun control, like certain things, was great at being something that kept you in the headlines, helped you raise money, was a great divisive tool to run with. And you used that until it became untenable. And abortion went away. It became the state's issues. So you're still trying to figure out at the federal level, how do we work this in our direction? But now you've got all of these things when it comes to, immigration that the feds are running around as far as Congress people and senators and using it. But you don't hear a ton of Democratic senators and Congress people outside of the squad and a few others making a lot of noise. Because Democrats, I point this out to you and I will say it again and again as I look into the camera. You did this to yourself. You allowed the last 4 years to be a free-for-all at the border. You took any power away from our people that were down there manning the border. You turned it into a one-way trip. And because of that, and then the action by the likes of Greg Abbott, who I thought was a political stunt, when he started sending people off to all over the country, sanctuary cities and states, he brought the border to them, and they didn't like it. Next hour, a lot of stuff to get to, more on immigration, a bunch of other stuff, including heart disease. What a shocker on what you can do to prevent some of this stuff. What? Yeah, not really a shocker. If you miss any of the show, make sure you grab our podcast. Otherwise, we say to you...
One o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Well, a new Chinese artificial intelligence model is sending ripple effects across Silicon Valley, Washington, D.C., and Wall Street. Here's Mike Dubusky.
DeepSeek's R1 model reportedly outperforms equivalent American models, and it does so by using just a fraction of the computer processors needed by companies like OpenAI and Meta. DeepSeek has raised questions among investors over why U.S. tech companies need so many resources and spend so much money developing AI. Last week at the White House, OpenAI and its allies committed to spending $100 billion on AI infrastructure dubbed Project Stargate.
Now, China's DeepSeek is prompting a global sell-off in AI-linked stocks. Right now, the NASDAQ down more than 3%. The app version of DeepSeek's technology currently holds the top spot on Apple's App Store download charts. Here in Nashville, Metro Police have identified the driver killed in a crash this morning near the airport. They say 48-year-old Brian Morwood of Goodlettsville was driving a Nissan Sentra southbound on Night Valley Drive when, for some reason, left the road and hit a tree head-on. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. Police say there was no indication of impairment at the scene. More nominees going to be heading to Capitol Hill for the confirmation hearings this week.
Up next for confirmation hearings, RFK Jr. as head of Health and Human Services. His hearing begins on Wednesday. Tulsi Gabbard is director of national intelligence on Thursday, and Kash Patel goes before the Senate Judiciary Committee Thursday for head of the FBI. Now, Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn tells Fox News that his nomination is stoking fear among Democrats.
They are very fearful of Kash Patel because Kash Patel knows what Adam Schiff and some of the others did with Russia collusion. He knows the dirt on them, if you will.
Patel has said that he would clear out FBI headquarters on his first day in office and reopen it as a museum of the deep state. Joan Jones, WTN News.
Heart disease, still the #1 killer in the U.S., according to ABC News. Chief medical correspondent Dr. Tara Narula, who's going off of the American Heart Association's annual update, finding risk factors like high blood pressure, diabetes, and obesity continue to rise.
Cardiovascular disease kills more Americans than all forms of cancer and accidents combined. That's one American every 34 seconds.
Yeah, the report says if this trend continues, it's estimated U.S. health costs will rise 300% by the year 2050. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Listen up, everybody. 47 is in. Our friends over at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Ashley, have something for you. You know what that is? It's a special. Oh, that's right. The big 47% off non-surgical spine decompression. In the big 47 offer of 2025, call 615-246-5009. Call them today. And let me tell you something. This weekend, did some more working out. It was great. You know what I don't worry about? My back. I can press myself a little bit more because I know I have Dr. Ashley to go to help me in case I need something. Same thing for my knee. I promised my wife, you know what? I'm going to get myself to a position where I can dance a little bit more because she always wants to go out dancing. Thank you, Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Ashley, because they help me with that because they have an amazing, incredible knee machine that is just, this thing is incredible. You need to check this out. If you worry about your back, if you worry about anything when it comes to your knees, this is the place to go. It is the Wellness Institute of Nashville. And right now, in honor of the 47th president, they got 47% off non-surgical spinal decompression in the big 47 offer of 2025. Call them today. A pain-free life, yes, it is possible. Call the Wellness Institute of Nashville at 615-246-5009 or go to painisbad.com. You guys can't see me? You're missing out on the radio.
Yes, they can.
Well, some can, but not everybody.
If you want to know what Chad was just doing, you got to be
rocking.
on Super Talk TV.
That's right. Go there right now. Check out all the new stuff. I want to shout out to Ian and everybody who worked hard this week and put this together because it is sweet.
Yeah, they did like 40 hours worth of work in 40 hours.
I mean, I'm a little high from some of the pain, but we're doing good.
This is all right.
I saw Dan today. He's like, it was like I'm huffing. If Dan had hair, it'd be all crazy. Look like one of those troll dolls. Oh, my goodness. You know, at the top of the hour, you heard something, and I don't think people, we do all kinds of stuff here. If you just want politics 24/7, that's not me, man. I'm life, right? Like, I hang out with my family. I hang out with my friends. I am life. Politics is a huge part of my life. So is pop culture. So is everything else. And at my age, 54, I do worry every once in a while when you find out that, oh, my God, for all the stuff we talk about, right, for guns and this and that, it's your heart, kids.
The American Heart Association's report says risk factors for heart disease like diabetes and obesity continue to rise. And that's bad news, says ABC chief medical correspondent Dr. Tara Narula.
Cardiovascular disease kills more Americans than all forms of cancer and accidents combined.
The cardiologist says that lifestyle changes like diet and exercise can make a difference.
80% of cardiovascular disease is preventable.
Report says if this trend continues, U.S. health costs will rise 300% by 2050.
300%. You heard Ken at the top of the hour. We should read it there. 300%. That is insane. And it's mostly preventable. 80% of it is preventable. Some of it's natural, right? Like no matter, everybody's got genetics, right? So we're not grown in a lab where we all have the same thing. And we all have got genetics. But we can do certain things to help. You know what we don't do? We don't do the right thing for the most part. You want to know why? Mostly because, well, eating right sucks.
Eating bad tastes so good.
Yes. I mean, it's true. Let's not pretend. You know what I got here today on the way in before I left? Chips and salsa. Wasn't awful, because trust me, I've eaten worse. I think we all know that. We're like, oh, sure, I could have another 4 donuts. Right? We've all done that. You know, normally I don't have 7 hot dogs, but it is 4th of July. It's so weird, right? Because you'll have like, you barbecue, you're like, oh, 3 hamburgers, right? You might do that.
Absolutely.
And you're always negotiating with yourself in your own head. Well, I'll eat a salad for dinner, and then it's like, well, you know what? We don't want these leftover hamburgers to go to waste, so I'll just eat 2 more.
That was me last night. We had some pasta because my wife, we like Sabbath on Saturday, so we had a couple little tiny tortillas and a little bit of meat for that. And I'm like, well, I don't want to leave those in there after I'd had some pasta. I didn't need it. Right? I didn't need it, but I did. But I ate it. And I talk about this because these things matter. Most of you listening are a little bit younger than me, a little bit older than me. You don't worry about it a little bit? I mean, come on. Every time you hear somebody in and around your age dies, what do you hope for? They were hit by a bus, right? It was one of those things where you don't want it to know it was something that they just dropped dead from. Because that's our mortality. And 80% is preventable. Think about that. Listen to this.
80% of cardiovascular disease is preventable. We always tell our patients that by modifying some of these risk factors. So heart-healthy diets, we think about the DASH diet, the Mediterranean diet, plant-based or vegetarian type diets. Exercise, about 150 minutes of moderate cardio every week or 75 minutes of vigorous cardio. Sleep 7 to 9 hours. Knowing your numbers. You should know your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your blood sugar, your body mass index. And then finally screening.
My goodness me. 80% of it. And it doesn't mean you have to stop like, oh, I'm never going to have that. It's all about moderation in life, which is hard for us to do.
Moderation.
Moderation is not the nation that we all like to go to. Right? I have a passport to get out of moderation at times. And I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. So, but we are such self-inflicted when it comes to our health. And it's funny, and you guys being my age, you guys will recognize. I flip around sometimes on, like TikTok or one of those other things, Reels, and I'll see 1987, like senior high school, where somebody's got an old school camera. You know what I don't see? Fat people.
That's right.
There was 1 or 2, but the rest of us were thin.
Yeah.
We were thin.
Now that I think about it, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I look and I'm like, whoa. And it's funny because you go to a lot of other countries, you walk around, what don't you see? Now Western European countries, you're seeing it more and more. We have exported our fattiness. We've exported snacks and junk food and a sedentary lifestyle. But My goodness me. When I look back then, I was watching one last night. It was 1987. And, it's old school. So, like, you could tell it's one of those handheld ones, the thing's, like, ginormous. And they're going around. And girls had huge hair, right?
Yeah.
Guys had really bad sweaters on. We're all there, right? Huaraches were quite popular back then.
And bad-smelling cologne.
Oh, Drakkar Noir. Oh, my. Polo, Drakkar Noir. Just the worst stuff you could do.
High karate.
That's right, man. What was that? Sex Panther?
Sex Panther.
Panther.
That works 100% of the time, 60% of the time.
60% of the time, it works 100% of the time.
Ooh, that's quite pungent. Smells like gasoline. Like, that's how bad it was. But you know what? I look, and I'm like, everybody there's got 28, 30, 32-inch waist. Like, everybody's super thin.
Yep.
And we don't have that. And, like, we got so many issues. And this is a big one because the cost of all of our life is going up. And one of the things we even talked about with obesity, we don't even count the amount of money that's lost every year because people who are nutritional overachievers, people of size, you know who you are, you're sick more often. You cost more money for the company. You don't get things done in the way that you should because you have to take more time off because you have issues. And that ends up doing what? Driving up prices across the board. But it also affects you in every way, shape, or form. My wife's always on me to eat better, and I'm trying to eat better, but I'm working out more. And, we got out here. I'd probably put on 15, 20 pounds since I've got out here because when I got out here, I was playing pickleball sometimes 3, 4, 5 hours a day in between all my shows and doing everything. And I was eating a lot better. And I got out here. Now I'm inside of an apartment. And we don't have pickleball the way we should.
And it's not 70 degrees in the winter where you can go outside and work out.
Yeah. So
that's what you get for moving from Arizona, baby.
Yeah. Eating healthy. A lot of people are tossing out like some of the stuff. One of the big things they're talking about is the carnivore diet. Because on Friday, I got us lunch. I offered it, by the way, to Ken, who was nice enough to say, no, I don't want it because I don't want to be a fatty, Chad. You're trying to make me fat. I don't want to be fat.
Did I turn you down?
You did not, but you got I
got an unwich. Yeah, I got my BLT with no bun. And you could have done that, Ken.
I didn't know about that.
I told you could have got without a bun. Now, you're not trying to do the Mediterranean, are you?
Who, me?
Yeah. No, Ken's not. Ken's doing the whatever.
I'm just doing the whatever. I'm basically still following the diet that I did all of year before last.
How much did you lose?
55 pounds.
Nice. Yeah. What about you, Ken? What are you hoping to lose?
Well, I've already lost, man. A couple of summers ago, all of my fun times caught up with me, and I had a couple of hernia surgeries.
Oh, my Lord.
And ever since then, dude, I've been slimmer and trimmer.
Ken knows how to party, man.
He does.
He does.
Sounds like it.
Oh, and I lied. It was 70 pounds. It wasn't 55.
Oh, look at that.
Now, see, here in dry January, which I'm still going strong.
Let's not lie to our audience, Ken.
Wait a minute. Okay, so tell me about dry January.
Let's not lie to our audience.
No alcohol.
No alcohol. Okay, he got specific there. We're okay now.
But man, I bet you I've lost 5 pounds that I put on over the holidays.
Yeah, everybody puts on a few pounds.
Just having too much fun, man.
Yeah. And you know what? That's life. That's to be expected. The problem is that 5 becomes 10, 10 becomes 20. Sir. Then all of a sudden you're like, I sweat when I put my shoes on.
That's my new workout, getting dressed.
Like when and you start getting to our age, like when you're young, man, you throw your shoes on, it was no big deal. Now it's like, okay, I can throw my left one on pretty easy. The right one, I got to bend my leg and pull it a little bit. It's...
Yeah, it cuts your breath off because your fat pushes your lungs up in your throat.
Yeah, it's just crazy. It's so weird. And by the way, as somebody said, I read that the most obese state in the 50s would be the least obese state. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But we also didn't have computers. We didn't have life simple. It was a simple thing. We ate when we were told to eat. It's dinner, you come, you eat, that's it. You weren't snacking in between.
The best you and I had to keep us inside when we were kids was like Atari.
Oh, yeah, it was horrible.
So we basically had to go out. We were going outside to play basketball or just to
ride your bikes,
ride the bikes,
yes,
or you're playing stickball in the street. We did that stuff because that's what was available for us to do.
Yeah, I rode my bike probably 30, 40 miles a day. I was like, I was doing Tour de France level. I was everywhere.
Yep.
And how did you find your friend? You ride down the street. There's 20 bikes in front of your friend's house. You zip over there. Everybody's inside. And, of course, they had to remind everybody on MTV, hey, it's 10 o'clock. You know where your kids are. You're like, oh, yeah, I forgot we got kids. But, you know, we had Pong, right? Then we had Atari. Like, Pong, we're like, it'll never get better than Pong. This is the greatest thing ever.
Oh, my God. Dude, I was actually playing a game last night, and I thought to myself that 7-year-old kid that was playing Pong in my living room as a child would just be blown away if he could see this right now.
Oh, yeah.
Because I thought Pong was the greatest thing in the world.
The greatest thing.
This is absolutely – my TV now lets me play a game.
That's right. Like, people gathered around your television. My friend got a computer. He was the first one on the street to get a computer. It was one of those, was like a Macintosh. It's like, all right, here's the deal. There's like 28 steps to turn it off, because if you don't turn it off correctly, the whole computer will break.
Yeah, if you don't lock down the drive before you pick it up.
It's also, it cost him $93,000.
And do you guys remember the satellite TV dishes?
Oh, God. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they take up an entire backyard.
Yeah, we had On TV and Select TV. Those were it. And for On TV, you just watch, and you turn it on. And that was it. There was nothing else. You didn't get anything else. Whatever was on, was on.
Yeah, a buddy of mine, his dad got one of those just huge satellite dishes. And we'd go over there every day to, try to catch shows on Cinemax.
Oh, yeah, Cinemax. I still have Cinemax right now.
You go, Ken.
HBO's like, what was that? HBO had the Dragon show.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. And then I remember on Family Guy, they were like, and Cinemax has Boob Dragon. I'm like, that's pretty much about it. So
you'd hear, what are you boys watching? Nothing.
Yeah. My mom caught me watching Animal House when I was a kid. So check this out. So back in the day, do you guys remember, like, at first people didn't have VHS. You go rent it from the grocery store, and they weighed 700 pounds. Like, my mom was like, come outside and get this. So we'd go out there, like 8 of us, and we'd rent a movie, and it would be great. Remember to rewind it, because you might get in trouble.
That's right. Rewind. Be kind, rewind.
So my dad's friend bootlegged a lot of stuff. He actually got in trouble for The Rose and ended up actually going to jail for like a year for bootlegging The Rose with Bette Midler. But we had Star Wars.
What happens if you bootleg Barbara Streisand? They shoot you?
Probably. Back in the day. But I had everybody come over to my house because I had Star Wars. Like,
oh yeah, you were everybody's best friend.
And I had Animal House. My mother had no idea. She thought it was a Muppet Show. She comes down one time, and there's things going on, and she's like, "What is this?" I'm like, "It's Animal House. It's my favorite movie." I'm like 9. Solid parenting.
So you don't even understand everything that's going on in
everything.
That movie.
Damn glad to meet you, Mom. My name's Otter. Damn glad to meet you. A lot of stuff still to get to, but just we talked about the hard thing because it's important. We care about you here. We want to get you guys the same way we are. We need a health kick to keep us rock and rolling. 2025 is here. Let's get healthy, shall we? We're all doing it. Bell's doing it, right? Ken's totally doing it. He's not even drinking, for God's sakes.
Not yet.
He's got the shakes, but it's okay because he gets through his newscast. It is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Rough Greens, ruffgreens.com. Vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9, all of this incredible stuff. It is packed into a supplement that your dog and cat will love. So Meow Greens for your cats, Rough Greens for your dogs. Right now, when you use code CHAD, when you go to ruffgreens.com, they're going to get you a $20 Jumpstart bat, a little bag. It's pretty good size. It's going to last you a bit. And all you have to do when you get it is just sprinkle this on top of your dog or cat's food. As we're talking about health, brown is not healthy. We all know that. Green is. And Rough Greens has all this stuff. It's got fruits and vegetables, all these amazing things. And it is truly incredible for your animal. Your cats and dogs will love the taste. You'll love what it does for them. Try a Jumpstart trial bag for free today. You cover the cost of shipping. It's a $20 value. Go to ruffgreens.com. Use code CHAD. ruffgreens.com. Use code CHAD for Rough Greens.
Another Democratic mayor is complaining about immigration raids. We'll tell you about it at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
But the CIA is now saying that it thinks COVID-19 most likely came from a lab leak in Wuhan, China. This report was completed at the request of the Biden administration and former CIA Director William Burns.
I just want to make sure that we understand this. There was a lab in China? In Wuhan?
Just wear the mask. Stop asking questions. Wear the mask.
And it had, what did they do there?
Take the shot.
Double check.
Take the shot.
There was a lab, and it was in Wuhan.
Yeah.
And they had viruses in there. And these viruses were COVID-related viruses. But somehow somebody up the street who ate a panda bear or whatever caught this.
Conspiracy theory. Total conspiracy theory.
Remember, it was a bat, then it was a pangolin?
Yeah.
Right? And then we got to some sort of other weird dog that I think they just made up. They're like, it was a fuzzy munchkin. I don't know. It's a new dog. You guys never seen these. They're only in China. Only at this place.
It's a short-haired trifle.
Right, yeah. It was something so weird. It was a squirrel burger. You've never seen these? These things are pretty crazy. I can't believe you said that. Yeah, they ate seal. I don't know.
It was declassified just this week by the new CIA Director John Ratcliffe, a Trump appointee. Ratcliffe has been clear about his stance on where COVID-19 came from, saying, quote, I think our intelligence, our science, and our common sense all really dictate that the origins of COVID was a leak at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. China has denied the lab leak theory, but this new CIA report could add renewed tension between Beijing and President Trump.
I like President Xi very much. I've always liked him. We always had a very good relationship. It was very strained with COVID coming out of Wuhan. Obviously, that strained it. I'm sure it strained it with a lot of people, but that strained our relationship.
You think? Strained anybody's relationship. Absolutely. 100%. We should have asked questions. Now, where it came from, we need to figure out what we were doing. And I think we all know we were screwing around. We were playing God a little bit, right? We were playing God just a smidge, and we know how that works out because we were talking last week, woolly mammoth. I saw yesterday they're going to try to bring back the dodo bird. Like, we're starting to bring back stuff close enough to go, like maybe, but then also starting to go, oh, yeah, this is going to end poorly. You were playing God, and you screwed up.
I'm definitely interested to find out what dodo tastes like.
Unicorn. We're bringing those back?
Don't ruin it for me. Let him bring back the unicorn, then I'll eat one of those.
Those will be delicious, kids. Delicious. Now, the CIA throws a caveat out there. They're saying, mostly we think this is true. Mostly. It's not like 100%, but we're it's a 50-50. We know what happened. I've never once said that it was something that was spread on purpose. What I've always said, Barney Fife and his crew working at the Wuhan virology lab didn't do a good job. I've seen this movie. It's called Outbreak. And eventually Kevin Spacey gets it and he dies. Why? Because he's got a puncture in his little thing and it gets in. Oh, God. Then he goes down to wherever, right? Maybe he goes down to Chuck E. Cheese. Maybe he goes down to the market. And people get it. And it spreads. Why does it spread? Because they played with it. It's that simple. They wanted to try to get ahead of something, and without realizing it, they put everybody else behind the 8 ball, and it killed people. But to think that, you couldn't even bring it up, there's no way. Absolutely, you should be able to bring it up. And you should have always been able to bring it up. The issue isn't whether these things happen. They did. My wife got really sick. She was sick for a bit, and she got the long, fog with the COVID. It was a nightmare. Me? I had the sniffles, right? I had other friends who got really sick. We all know, obviously, listen to the station, you all know. That being said, it wasn't about putting blame on anything. It was about the fact that you lied about it so much that by the time it did spread, and then it became a story. Then it became political. And once something becomes political, I don't care what it is, it's ruined. You can't have a normal conversation. You can't. Speaking of politics, what are we going to do with FEMA?
Don't tell me that we now have to entirely leave it in the hands of states or cities to actually resolve these problems. It is the responsibility of the federal government. So if there is a way to expedite response in these events, we should take that on.
Here's the thing with FEMA. This weekend, obviously Trump with Mayor Bass in Los Angeles and out there, and seeing what the people in North Carolina said about him showing up, seeing the fact that they said he seemed to care. He was here. That was always been the thing about Biden, right? He was the big empathizer and stuff. And after a while, he just wasn't any of those things because he wasn't there. So that, that's just nature. He'd kind of lost it all. But the reality is FEMA failed. They failed in Maui. They failed big time in North Carolina and forgot. They failed, let's not forget Ohio and the nightmare that happened there. And they failed in a major way already in California. And people are frustrated and angry. And I said on Friday, the states know what's best for the states. Doesn't mean there's not a place for FEMA. But you and I both know our government here knows what's best for us rather than FEMA. How do we go about doing that? What's going to happen? And remember, when you hear people go, no, we can't get rid of it, those people are the people who put themselves in a position where they benefit from it, they work for it, they don't have to live under it or use it. Coming up on the Chad Benson Show, Gaza. What's going on there? We shall talk about that. A bunch of other stuff to get to, including Mount Everest. They've raised the prices, but if you think you could just do it on a whim, we're going to tell you what you're going to have to do to actually climb Mount Everest. Because I did it. Never. But we'll talk about that straight ahead. It's the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
.1:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Right now in Nashville, about 200 people standing outside the state capitol to rally for gun control in the wake of the Antioch High School shooting. They want Governor Lee to add gun control to the list of issues to tackle in the special session that kicks off today. DeepSeek, a Chinese tech company, says it's created an artificial intelligence model that rivals or surpasses equivalent American models, and according to the company, it did so at a fraction of the cost. Dan Ives is the global head of tech research at Wedbush Securities. He says it's prompted concerns on Wall Street.
It's definitely alarmed investors, worrying about is China overtaking the U.S. in AI.
Yeah, the heavily weighted tech stocks on the NASDAQ are down 3.5%. Another Democratic mayor, this one in New Jersey, complaining about ICE raids. It's Patterson Mayor Andre Saya.
There are people in Patterson who are panicking. In fact, a very prominent priest called me yesterday and said that there were parishioners who came to him crying tears of fear.
Here in Nashville, the Department of Justice has just filed another charge against one of the 5 illegal immigrants rounded up in a sex trafficking raid in Antioch recently. The Tennessee Star says 28-year-old Elmer Umberto Aparicio was charged Friday with unlawful possession of a firearm by an illegal alien. Aparicio allegedly admitted to possessing a pistol and then throwing it away while running from law enforcement as they searched a 5-acre property with a building on it that had been modified for use as a brothel back on January 8th. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
USS, kids, United Structural Systems. If you're thinking to yourself, all right, we've had some issues here. We've got a little crack, but I think it's not that big of a deal. Don't let it become something it shouldn't. And USS is there to help. They're going to come out. They're not going to charge you anything crazy, right? Absolutely free for an inspection. You're worried about mold? You should be, because trust me, I've had it. It is a nightmare, right? You don't want, wood rot, any of that stuff. You want to make sure that your stuff, your foundation, everything is good to go. Your pipes, you name it. You want to make sure it's good. USS is going to deliver that. Here's the other great thing. 30,000 customers, 5-star, Google. Yes, awesome, amazing. They deliver the best guaranteed, and they're not going anywhere, which is something you should worry about because so many people go, I'm going to go with these people over here because they're super cheap. And you know what? Something happens. They don't do it right. And all of a sudden, you can't find them. But they got your money. Then you have to go pay more. Ooh, don't do it. Do it right the first time with USS. Call them today, United Structural Systems, 615-488-7855. That's 615-488-7855 or online at USSTN.com. Yeah, baby. So we'll see what happens with Ukraine, Russia. That will happen in its own time. I don't think, I think a lot of people think it's going to happen overnight. It's not. They're still going to battle out. There's still a lot to work out there. When it comes to the nightmare that is the Middle East, I think people think it's going to be simple and easy. It's just not. And simple and easy by, okay, it's going to be a truce. Everybody's going to go their way. It's going to be a ceasefire, and that's it. And no, it's not, because now they're talking about how do they really do this the right way. And Trump's like, I got a great idea. This place is a mess. Everybody needs to lead. We need to clean this thing up, which is freaking people out.
President Trump's comments on Air Force One this weekend, pushing Egypt and Jordan to take in Palestinians from the Gaza Strip. The president adding that the move could be temporary or could be long-term. Hamas saying they strongly condemn Trump's statements. Egypt and Jordan, both U.S. allies and key partners for peace in the region, are pushing back. Jordan's foreign minister saying our rejection of displacement is fixed and unchangeable.
They don't want him there for a reason, because if you are a study of history, both Egypt and Jordan have allowed them in before, and you've got several opportunities they've taken to try to overthrow the government, a coup, a Muslim Brotherhood, you name it. They want no part of it. Plus, it's a drag on their world. They're like, we already have trouble in certain areas feeding our people. We don't need more of that here. But Trump's looking around going, well, hold on a second. Look at all this. Now, if you've never seen Gaza, so the river to the sea, You look out there, the Mediterranean's gorgeous. You've got all of this stuff, right? You got all these things surrounding it. It is a beautiful place. And yet they've turned it into a nightmare even before this. Look, Israel's not helped. Well, they've helped destroy it. They've helped turn it into a kid's Lego room by just trashing it everywhere. But Trump's like, whoa, look at this. Well, there's a lot of sand right there. And there's a lot of this, and there's a lot of that. That looks good over there. And you know him, he's thinking, okay, we could put up something. This would be good too, right? We could make this a destination place for everybody. Because that's the way he thinks. But yes, you've got to clear it out and start all over again. But who's going to take them? Nobody's going to take them because they don't trust them. And they've always been used as that kind of, it's a good reason to hate the Jews, but we don't really want them here. Egypt built a wall. Have you seen the wall that Egypt has built? That is no joke. Like, that is no joke. Egypt built a wall where it's like, no way, you're not getting in. And Jordan doesn't want them. But Trump's looking at this going, man, this place could be like a Club Med. It could be a casino, maybe.
Are you tired of the same old vacation spots? Are you ready for a getaway that's truly tremendous? Introducing the all-new Trump Gaza Casino and Resort. Nestled along the beautiful 25-mile coastline of the Mediterranean Sea, Gaza offers stunning water views and breathtaking sunsets. Experience luxury like never before in our world-class suites, where every room is the penthouse. Enjoy fine dining and exclusive restaurants featuring the best this side of the West Bank. Roll the dice in the state-of-the-art casino where the stakes are as high as our approval ratings. And don't worry about the neighbors. They helped us get from the river to the sea. So pack your bags and make your next vacation huge at Trump Gaza Casino and Resort. It's one vacation that won't be a bomb.
Access to Gaza is currently restricted due to security concerns and travel advisories. Travel. Could you see that? Because you know that's like, I saw Jared Kushner's like, that's a really nice piece of land. They're always trying to develop something. This is going to take a very long time. And by a long time, I mean decades. Trump will get somewhere, but he's already said, look, this thing's precarious at best. And Hamas is already throwing stuff back. Remember, there are 3 phases of this thing. And the third phase is what? Hamas goes away. Yeah, that ain't happening. You and I both know that. Not without a fight. Speaking of fighting, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's hearing week.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Trump's pick to run the Department of Health and Human Services, expected to get grilled by lawmakers on everything from false claims he's made on vaccines to his push to get fluoride out of the drinking water. Senators, we know, also preparing tough questions for Tulsi Gabbard, zeroing in on past statements she's made sympathetic to Russia. And Patel, tapped to run the FBI, expected to get pressed by lawmakers on some of his past controversial comments, including openly talking about using the federal government to go after Donald Trump's political opponents.
That's all they're going to focus on. The political opponents are coming out. Do I want them to get their political opponents? No. If somebody's done something wrong and you point that out because you found it, you've got evidence, then, yeah, do what you have to do. If your only goal is to go after people and not to do anything, then no, I don't think anybody wants that. Most of you listening right now who are huge supporters of Trump don't want them to drop everything and make everything about getting even. If you get to the point where you find things, that's one thing. But it's not about that. So I think the only person this week who's going to have an issue is going to be Tulsi Gabbard. I think she's got some problems where I think of all of the cabinet positions, she's the weakest link of the bunch. And we'll see how she does. Obviously, the weekend, Pete Hegseth got in. Noam got in, and that's great. Everybody's celebrating that. That's fine. But when it comes to this week, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and, of course, the big time when it comes to Robert Kennedy Jr., because I want to see how the Democrats treat him. Because the Democrats, some of them have been kind of warming up to him. Like, okay, maybe this guy might not be so bad. So, and yes, has he made some name somebody who's not made some controversial comments. Like, that's kind of what these people do. And controversy depends on who's decided it's controversy. Because what we hear, especially from the left, is that's controversial. To you it is. To the average person, it's not. To you, it's terrifying. Oh my God. To the average person, like, no. Like with immigration. Like you're hearing this all over. You've got this New Jersey mayor who is out and about saying, I can't believe this is happening. My people are terrified.
There are people in Patterson who are panicking. In fact, a very prominent priest called me yesterday and said that there were parishioners who came to him crying tears of fear.
Why? Can we ask you why? Well, because they're here illegally and they're worried they're going to be removed. Well, they're here illegally. And if, for the most part, they've done zero, they're not going to be chased down. They're not going to be hunted down. Now, could they get caught up in something? Absolutely they could. And I think we recognize that. That's a possibility. And that is probably going to happen at some point in time. You're going to have some people. But at first, it's the focus on the people that we need to focus on. The several gangs that have crossed over the border, and there's plenty of them. And I know he just classified one of them here in Tennessee as essentially a foreign adversary, like a terrorist organization. We need to focus in the places that matter. We have 1.5 to 1.7 million people that have final orders removed. So they've gone through the whole system. They've gone through everything. And now it's time to go. And they refuse to go. So they're one. People in jails. And the jail thing is very interesting because if you're in jail for a crime, that's a really bad crime. I'm actually kind of, and I want to hear from you guys on this. So make sure you text at the program because I'd love to hear from you on this. You can even tweet at me at Chad Benson Show. The thought of removing somebody from this country who has either been convicted and or currently awaiting to be tried on something, and the thought of sending them back to their country, of which, unless we have some sort of deal where they're going to put them in jail, they're just going to be free in their country, and they're going to turn around and come straight back here. So in a weird way, would they not have gotten away with it? And we're just having a revolving door. Because if you've committed a heinous crime, we're talking about rape and things of that nature, I kind of think, you know what? As much as I don't want to, keeping them here in prison, as much as it's expensive, I also don't want it to be a revolving door of us dropping off people and them turning around and coming straight back, which is absolutely a fear.
We're also receiving reports that people are not going to work, that children are not going to school, and people are reluctant to go and even visit their doctor.
How much of that is real fear, and how much of that is because so much stuff is pushed out there that they're hunting, they're coming. You can't stop them. Well, the numbers aren't that much bigger than what ICE has done in the past. Trump wants to get to 1,000 plus a day. You got to think about that. 1,000 a day? That is not millions a year. And how many of those are offset by how many people sneak across the border? So it's got to be bigger, and the military is going to be there. And yes, it's going to be bigger, but it is, this is one of those things where, you're taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back, hoping you don't take 2 steps or 3 steps back. But looking at what's going on at the border, which is people heading out and trying to get back across the border, because some people who do want to come here legally, who've been here for a while, recognize that if they do get caught, they're going to be in a position where they can't come in this country for up to 10 years. So they're trying to get ahead of it. But just watching people freak out over the weekend, it's horrible. And then the Catholic Church. What are you saying, Catholic? We want to protect this. You know who we should have protected? The altar boys. Right? Can we be honest? Just a little bit? All this stuff about, well, you got to do this and you got to do this. Hey, I see that big piece of land over there in the Vatican. I don't hear you inviting anybody over there. Right? No, I'm not doing any of that stuff, are you? Oh, no, you're not. And you're sitting there talking about this is cruel and inhumane. You guys hid people who did horrific things to children. And you didn't go, okay, we're going to put this guy in a room and tell him he's got to say a billion Hail Marys and he can never speak again and he can't go outside of that room again and he's got to repent. Instead, you just moved him from point A to point B and gave him fresh meat and you lied about it. So don't come at me with your pious attitude of, oh, well, this or that. No, sorry. That falls on deaf ears, bro. That ain't working. That is not working at all. You were the wrong person to lead this big moral charge when you talk about stuff. And you got plenty of land, and you got plenty of stuff. I don't see you offering it up everywhere, right? Walking around the Vatican. You ever been to the Vatican? Lots of room. Plenty of room. Not everybody's welcome, apparently. Coming up on the Chad Benson Show, we're going to talk about Mount Everest. It's fun. I've thought about it. Hasn't everybody thought about it? Climbing up Mount Everest, getting to base camp. We're going to tell you how much it really costs. We're going to tell you what you actually have to do it. Because Bell is on his way. He's doing his keto. He's working out. He's on the climber every day. This is it.
Let's be specific, though. What you're talking about is what it cost you to get to base camp.
Oh,
you haven't even stepped foot on the mountain yet. You're just at base camp.
I am breaking it down for you guys from top to bottom. So be prepared if you've ever thought to yourself, this is my year. I'm doing something. Get ready for it. By the way, you're going to have to ask your boss for a lot of time off as well. It is the Chad Benson Show at Super Talk 99.7. By the way, we look delicious today. I just want to point that out to you on the brand new Super Talk TV. Raycon, best earbuds around. Love my Raycon. I wear them every single day. When I'm walking here, I got them in. When I'm at home working, I got them in. The best earbuds, the everyday earbuds from Raycon are amazing. Fit, feel, comfort, all incredible. Top of that, sound quality, second to none. But then you get to all the other things. First of all, active noise cancellation. I want to talk about that. At a price point like this, you're not even anywhere close out there. Top of that, no stems, no wires. Multi-connectivity, fast charging, just to name a few things, and a 30-day happiness guarantee. If you're like me and you love premium sound, you want audio that is incredible, and at the same time you want a fit that works, it is all about the everyday earbuds from Raycon. You're going to get a 30-day happiness guarantee. That means try them out for 30 days. If you're not happy, send them back, get your money back, no questions asked. 15% off site-wide right now. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. That's buyraycon.com/Chad.
A new Chinese artificial intelligence model sending ripple effects across Silicon Valley, Washington, D.C., and Wall Street. We got the latest coming up at 2 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Reaching the top of Mount Everest is, of course, widely considered the pinnacle for climbers around the globe. But the journey to the world's tallest peak is about to get a lot more expensive for climbers. Nepal is raising the permit fees for climbing the mountain. Starting in September, the new price will be $15,000. That's up from $11,000, a 36% increase. It's the first price hike at Everest in nearly a decade. Income from those permit fees and other spending by foreign climbers is a key source of revenue and employment for the cash-strapped nation of Nepal.
Weird white people. That's who climbs Mount Everest.
Nip it in the bud.
Nobody else does. That is such a weird thing. Like, you guys get it, right? Like, it's, come on, let's be real. It's not poor people don't climb Everest, except for Sherpas. And they live there.
Well, those Sherpas get paid pretty well.
They do. I mean, if you're a Sherpa, you're deep. You're like, oh, check that
If you
guy
can
out.
get to the summit and back down in one piece, there's a hefty check waiting for you.
There is. Now, if you'd like to go, we're going to break it down for you. And I always want to remind everybody this. The bodies that are up there, because they don't bring you down for burying. If you die up there, you stay up there. Those people were very motivated. Just want to point that out. They probably had one of those pictures in their office that said, you know, about motivation. It's probably that. So if you want to go there, first and foremost, you just heard it's going up in price. So let's get there first. You're going to be there for 6 to 8 weeks before you even think about summiting. Okay? Now you need to know, how do I want to do it? Well, there's two ways to do it. They've got essentially kind of like a standard guide. That's like, think of it as in if you order an Uber, right, but you're sharing it, like that's kind of the standard guide. You're going to have a couple Sherpas, and they're going to get you up there, you hope, but you're going to be with several people. So you don't, you know, that's one way. That's going to cost you about $50K. Or go luxury. It's going to cost you $100 to $170K. And this doesn't even count all the stuff. Now, when you get there, again, 6 to 8 weeks before you even start, you'll go up one. You'll stay up there for a day or two, one of the camps. You come back down, acclimatize yourself. Then you're going to go up to number 2. You're going to stay up there for several days, come back down to base. Then you're going to go up to the 3rd camp. You're going to stay there for a couple days, come back down. Then you go back up there to the 4th camp, and you get ready to go for it. And depending on the weather, time of the year, all this kind of stuff, it is potential to get ugly when you come down. Because that's the fear. When you talk to climbers, it's the coming down part they get scared of. And weather up there can change in an instant. So if you're thinking about it, it's going to run you, you know, if you want the good guides, that's $100 to $150 grand. They're going to get you helicopters, tents, the whole 9 yards. It's going to be awesome. I mean, if you're going to die, you're going to do it in style.
You'll be well preserved up there.
Well preserved. There was one guy from Sweden who rode his bike. He left in October of 95, got to base camp in April of 96. He was there just a couple weeks, no oxygen, no Sherpa, marched all the way up there, turned around, marched back, got on his bike, and went back to Sweden. But he had done a lot of mountaineering. It wasn't like, hey, dude, let's go mountaineer. No, it's not like that. Just letting you guys know that. Coming up, third hour of the Chad Benson Show. A lot of stuff still to get to, more on immigration. Also, a lot of you chiming in about today. It is Holocaust Remembrance Day. I think we need to remember more about what took place then, how we don't study it, and on top of that, how we throw around the word Nazi a lot when we shouldn't. We're going to talk about that as well. A bunch of other things to get to. If you missed any of the show, we say shame.
2 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. And right now in Nashville, rallies organized by community and gun control activists have started outside the state capitol.
And we know that when we organize, we win.
They involve students who are asking Governor Lee to include gun control in the special session that starts today. It is to pass school vouchers, strengthen illegal immigration policies, and get more disaster funding for Hurricane Helene victims. But the activists in the wake of the Antioch High School shooting want gun control in it, too. A new Chinese artificial intelligence model sending ripple effects across Silicon Valley, Washington, D.C., and Wall Street. Here's Mike Dubusky.
Tech stocks took a hit on the news that a Chinese research firm created an AI model that outperforms America's efforts for just a fraction of the cost. The R1 model, as it's known, comes from a company called DeepSeek, and it's causing many investors to question why America's tech firms need the billions that they're investing into their own AI. But Wedbush Securities' Dan Ives says DeepSeek is ultimately good for the industry.
Competition's going to increase, but it does no in any way make us less bullish on the AI revolution.
Yeah, right now the NASDAQ is down 3.5%. Another Democratic mayor in New Jersey complaining about illegal immigrants being rounded up in ICE, as he calls it, raids in his city. Patterson Mayor Andre Saya says there's panic.
We're also receiving reports that people are not going to work, that children are not going to school, and people are reluctant to go and even visit their doctor.
Meanwhile, the new Secretary of Defense says more executive orders coming from President Trump.
As he arrived at the Pentagon for his first workday as Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth told reporters of coming executive orders affecting transgender service members and those who were kicked out of the military for refusing to be vaccinated for COVID.
The lawful orders of the President of the United States will be executed inside this Defense Department swiftly and without excuse.
Hegseth also pledged further military support for mass deportations and for security along the border.
Heads up, if you get Social Security benefits, CBS News reports millions of retired teachers, firefighters, police officers, and others with public pensions may have to wait up to a year or longer to reap the benefits of the recently passed Social Security Fairness Act, which says eligible recipients who previously only received partial benefits will now get a full payment. The Social Security Administration says that law does not provide additional financing or staff. It says it needs to help implement the law or deal with the increased workload of 3 million people. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
The battle of immigration, kids, going on. I started the show out this way. I'm going to say it again. I love my country. And if you're proud of the country you came from, great. But if you decided that America is the place you want to be, you've come here and you've decided to become a citizen and the opportunity's been presented to you, and you're marching around, tearing down American flags and celebrating the country that you risked everything to escape because it was such a crap hole. It was awful. And the opportunities in front of you here were tremendous. And you weren't going to get them anywhere else. And you traveled forever to get here. And you're willing to do that? You got to go. You gots to go. And I saw that this weekend. I saw that and it pissed me off. I don't care who you are. You should be pissed. I don't care if you're right or left. You should be angry about this. You had the opportunity here to get out there and to protest peacefully. Great. That's fantastic. And some did, some didn't. Small. It wasn't crazy like we've seen with, a lot of the lunacy out there with Antifa and stuff. But you're marching around with flags of Mexico and Venezuela and Colombia and Palestinian flags. What the hell are you doing? You decided to come here. Your father, your mother, your grandfather decided to get up and say, I can't live here. I can't live in this country. I can't stay in this place. It is awful. It is horrible. I got to get out of here. And they woke up one day because they didn't have anything. And they said, we got to get there. They sold everything. They packed everything. They made the trek. And it was a trek. They went through hell and high water. They went through places where the cartels run. Back in the day, way back in the day, it was coyotes. Way back in the day, it was just run-of-the-mill crime, but it was still awful. And then let's not forget, one thing that is never talked about, especially by people who don't live on the border, how inhospitable the region is in many places. And it is bad. And you come here. And for many, like my grandfather, came here back in the day. It was a little bit easier, no doubt. Came back here in the day, and all he wanted to do was be American. And the minute he crossed that border, he was an American. He didn't care. Took him years to get his citizenship. He did everything. He didn't care. He was apple pie. He was Dodgers. That's the Dodgers, for those of you who don't know. He was Uncle Sam. He was everything you could think of. He was absolutely, as an American, he would let my uncle and I learn Spanish. My grandma teaches Spanish. He said, no, they're Americans. They're going to speak English, period, case closed. He wanted that. He said, if I wanted, whenever we see somebody with a Mexican flag and them cheering and stuff, and if it's a soccer game or something like that, okay, we get that, right? If it's the Olympics. I used to tell everybody, when I lived in England, if the Olympics were on, and there were several times I lived there, if the American was playing against the Brit, whatever it is, swimming you didn't really have to worry because the British don't swim very well. But, if it was track and field and stuff back in the day, hey, I was cheering the American on when I was over there. But if the American wasn't in the race and it was a Brit, I was as Brit as it gets. I wasn't marching the streets talking about how we kicked their butts because of the tea. We took you and kicked your butt because you wanted to tax us for tea. I wasn't doing any of that. I respected who they were. I became as much a Brit as I possibly could, but I love my country. For people to come here, to go out on the streets and to demand this, you better not do this or you better not do that, and we're this and we're that, is a bunch of crap. And to tear down American flags and to cheer Venezuela and Mexico. You know what? If you're that happy, go. Go back. If you're that unhappy here, go back. If you're that happy with where you came from, go back. Now, you packed up everything and you came here. You gave it up everything. And you came here. You wanted to come here because you saw this is the place. The beacon on the hill. The opportunities that were second to none anywhere else in the world. And you came here. And now you're pissed and angry because enforcement of laws is happening. And people are upset. And they're like, oh, God, oh, God. This is Selena Gomez, who has quickly taken this video down. But as we all know, the internet never lets you forget.
I just wanted to say that I'm so sorry. How many people are getting attacked? The children. I don't understand. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I'll try everything, I promise.
Which, by the way, if you want to be embarrassed, you should be embarrassed about that movie you're in, Emily Perez, because of this.
Hello, very nice to meet you. I'd like to know about sex change operation.
I see.
That's what you should be embarrassed about. And the fact that apparently your Spanish in the movie is awful. I'm so sorry about everything.
Good grief.
And she ugly cries the whole time, too.
Goodness.
It did. It was ugly. I felt uncomfortable, I'll tell you that right now. And I like you, Selena. I think you're a good person, right? And I understand you feel upset. I understand it. And I don't want to see families torn apart either, but I like our laws being managed. And when I look at people out there who are Democrats, I remind you, you did this. You allowed our border to be nothing. You allowed our border agents to essentially be ticket takers to the parade that you decided to come here. You allowed everybody in the world to come here with no pushback whatsoever. And then Greg Abbott did something that I thought was a joke at first. I thought, it really won't work. He's going to bus people to several cities that are sanctuary cities and states. California, not so much, because California's fine with it. They'll do with it whatever they want. Fine, that's great. But to other places, he did something that caught everybody's eye. He brought the border from Texas, and then Ducey got involved in Arizona, and they took the border from Arizona and Texas, and they took it to Chicago, and they took it to New York, and they took it to their bank accounts. And once their bank accounts felt it, oh my goodness, life changed. Life changed in a big way. Once Democrats thought, well, this can't happen, right? Like we got to do better, but we can't have this. Earlier today, Tom Homan asked about Selena Gomez.
Don't know if you've had a chance to see a video that has been going viral over the past hour or so. We're still working to clear it and show it. In fact, the Hollywood celebrity who posted it has now deleted it, I think because probably she faced a lot of backlash for it, noting even the New York Times and Fox News polls show that a majority of American respondents are in favor of deportations of criminals and gang members. She posted a video sobbing. She was crying in it. She said, all my people are getting attacked, with the picture of a Mexican flag. Again, she has now taken that down. But what do you say to those who are out there saying that these are everyday people, these are families that are being attacked and dragged out of their homes? How do you respond to that?
Well, first of all, who's being attacked? Like, they make it seem like they're going in with pitchforks and axes and beating people to death and dragging them out. I got to fight. No, that's not happening. And if you've never seen, by the way, Tom Homan, I think it was at one of the Turning Point events. It might have been at the big thing they do in D.C. Every year, talking about seeing the little girl that had been raped numerous occasions and having essentially her life stripped away from her, even though she was still alive. And the little boy who died in his dad's arm. If you've not seen him break up about this, when I talk to my friends who are border agents, I will tell you this right now. The stuff that sticks with them isn't the guy they're chasing who they know is a bad guy and is trying to get away and is not there for trying to get asylum. It is seeing the people that have died out there that were trying to get here. And it sticks with them in a major, major way because they're human beings, despite what many people think.
I don't think we arrested any families. We've arrested public safety threats and national security threats, bottom line. And look, President Trump won the election on this one issue, securing our border and saving lives. What happened on our southern border last 4 years is the biggest national security threat this country's seen, at least in my lifetime, because we got over 2 million known gotaways. We got a 600% increase in sex trafficking. We got a record number of terrorists crossing the border on the terrorist watch list. We have 250,000 Americans die from fentanyl coming across the open border. We're going to do this job, and we're going to enforce the laws of this country. If they don't like it, then go to Congress and change the law. We're going to do this operational apology. We're going to make our community safer. We're going to save. Once we lock that border on continuous operation, you're going to see fentanyl deaths decrease, illegal alien crime decrease, sex trafficking decrease. It's just all for the good of this nation, and we're going to keep going. No apologies. We're moving forward.
Amen. I don't expect any apologies. They weren't taking anybody out. Is that going to happen at some point in time? Yes. At some point in time, a family is going to be affected. At some point in time, people are going to be swept up in this. There's no doubt about that. I think we can all recognize that. It's going to happen. So they call it collateral. But going after bad people who've done bad things, there is nothing wrong with that. Most Americans, a vast majority of Americans, Democrats and Republicans, always say, if you're a criminal and you've come here and you're continuing to do crime and you're running and you need to go. The minute you're caught, you need to go. The minute you're caught, you need to go. And they need to catch you. If you've gone through the system and you wanted asylum and you've done everything, you've come here, you've applied for asylum, you go to the judge, he says, Judge, I need asylum. And says, sorry. And they're like, we're going to appeal it. And then they appeal it. Judge, I need asylum. Oh, sorry. Then they appeal it. And they appeal it again. And then you get the third time, strike three. And they say, look, you don't qualify for asylum. You have to go. You've got orders to be removed. Isn't that what everybody says? We just want them to have their day in court. Well, they've got their day in court. And when their day in court goes the way that you get mad about because it goes against what you think, well, guess what? If we don't follow the system and we decided that we give you the opportunity to get to court, you go to court, you do the stuff, and then you say, well, we don't want you to follow that. Well, then why have a system at all? I think most of us can agree. The lady down the street, the guy down the street, right? They've been here for 20 years. They're not causing any hell and havoc. We got to figure out a way to get them the opportunity to stay here. Doesn't mean they become citizens at all. Doesn't mean they at all become citizens. And trust me, if I'm Donald Trump, I'm figuring that out. Because the worry, right, for years has been what? That the Democrats would somehow find a way to make everybody legal. Why not get ahead of the people that are here? Find out what they need to do. Keep them in the country. Make them pay a fine. I don't have a problem with some of that. The DACA recipients, things of that nature. Again, the conversation, and this is also part of the, negotiations are going to go on for a bigger bill in the way that we do things. But if you've crossed the border illegally, and by that I mean you didn't apply for asylum, you came here, they catch you, you got to go, even if you've done nothing. If you've come here and you've committed crimes, we've got to figure out what to do with you. And that's one of the things we talked about last hour. A lot of you chimed in on that because I don't know what the answer is. If you've committed a violent crime, I don't know if I want to send you back to your country. And I know that sounds weird, but if we send you back to the country from which you came, they're not going to lock you up. And if they don't lock you up, they're going to set you free. And if they set you free, what do you think you're going to do? You're going to bounce back over here. So these are all things that need to be seriously talked about when they land in these countries. But Trump is doing what he said he was going to do. And that shouldn't be a surprise. And most Americans are behind him. And yes, that when it comes to the criminal side of it, a vast majority of Americans are behind him. When it comes to separating families and certain things like that, it's not as cut and dry. It's about 50-50. But to get stuff done, there's going to have to be some compromise. That being said, when it comes to criminals, catch them, figure out what we do with them. And like I said, as much as I would like to see them deported, I also worry about the rebound effect. And I think a lot of you are going, oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. You reach out to us across our social media, at Chad Benson Show, your Twitter, your Instagram. Check out Chad Benson Show TV on Facebook, and as well as like and subscribe to Chad Benson Show TV. And here as well, because we got the new stuff. Bell, how does it look? Are we looking good?
Oh, I think it looks phenomenal.
Phenomenal. So we got the new...
We've got, not only do we now have, we've got the TV as our backdrop, and we've got brand new sound baffling back there, which is very artistic.
It is. And Ian and the guys worked all weekend, and it is phenomenal. So a lot of stuff still to come. And, of course, I just saw Matt wandering by, so we'll have him in here a little bit later as well. It is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Bulwark Capital, my buddies over at Bulwark. I tell you what, guys, if you're thinking to yourself, what do I do with my retirement? This week, my buddy Zach Abraham, Chief Investment Officer at Bulwark, wants to talk to you about what he's got going on. It is 3:30 Pacific. It is a free webinar about looking forward into your retirement and the markets in 2025. It's going to talk to you about how Bulwark separates themselves by being, first and foremost, people that actually participate when it comes to your retirement, meaning they're active every single day, looking for the right things, as well as risk management, lower risk, lower cost, lower volatility. I want you to call them today and set up a risk review, but also check out and sign up for their big webinar happening this Thursday. It's 1:30 here, 3:30 Pacific. Go to Know Your Risk Radio, KNOW, Your Risk Radio today to sign up. You will not be disappointed. Worst case scenario is you learn a bunch of stuff and you leave and you're like, wow, I learned a lot of things. No high-pressure sales, none of that stuff. KnowYourRiskRadio.com. Investment advisory service offered through Trek Financial LLC and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Investments involve risk and not a guarantee. Past performance not guarantee future results. Trek 25103.
Nashville community activists and students are rallying for gun control, also against deportation of illegal immigrants outside the state capital. China has a new AI app that is sent U.S. tech stocks reeling. We'll have these stories and more at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, Ken, how many folks are out there?
Looks like about a couple of hundred.
Couple of
hundred. Looks like, I mean, they are students. I don't know if they're high school or if they're college students. Probably a mix of both.
Mix of both out there going, heck no, we won't go.
Yeah,
they're away our gun. That's no fun.
Yeah, they've got an adult speaking through a bullhorn, and then everybody cheers after every sentence.
As long as you're not blocking traffic. I will tell you this. The minute you block traffic, I don't care if I agree with you. I will do everything in my power to get whatever it is that you believe in shut down. I don't care. I could be 100% behind you. You're like, yeah, absolutely. I am agreeing. And then they're like, we're going to block traffic. And then you block my traffic. You make my life a little bit more hell, right? Getting home to see my family, getting to work. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take up the exact opposite side of whatever opinion or thing that you're going after. I'm going to champion it. I'm going to do everything in my power. My power. Here's some of the kids. Okay. So what would have gun control have done with this? I'm just curious. What would it have done with a kid that had had how many phone calls to the house? How many visits? What would this have done to the black Nazi kid? What would that have done? And he wasn't a Nazi. He was just a disturbed individual. What would that have done? Could you have prevented this?
Not one more! Not one more! Not one more! Not one more!
When I hear this, you know what I think? So on a Friday night, in a place that isn't a school, and somebody gets shot, I don't hear you chanting on Monday, right? I don't hear that. And it's the same thing across the country, right? If 10 kids get shot in, Chicago, I don't hear them going, not one more, because they don't care, because it's not the same. It's not. Well, that's business. This is personal. Oh, okay. Is that the way we're going to look at this? No, it's ridiculous. And we can all agree that gun violence is out of control when it comes to our youth, because somewhere along the line, our youth, especially young men, have decided that if we got beef, the best way to settle it is with guns. And that is sad. But I see this. And look, if it would have got me out of class, we'd all been there. Recognize that. Like, we're not fools. Like, well, oh my God, we're all going down. And I know tomorrow's the day they're going to do it at the school, right? In Antioch?
Yeah, that's when they're supposed to have the student walkout.
Yeah, so which we all would have participated in as kids. Doesn't matter what it is, right? If it could have been about,
I'd participate in it now.
Yeah. I mean, we may. I don't know. Like pygmy
Actually, we should do that. Let's see if we can get a remote broadcasting unit, and we'll go out and we'll hang in the line with the kids.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Broadcasting live tomorrow from Antioch. But I look at this, and I understand the passion that some people have, but put the perspective and wrap it all around this. None of this would have prevented what that kid did. None of this would have prevented that. You're not chanting about, he needed mental health. We had so many red flags. Why did we do it? You're not chanting any of that because it doesn't have a good rhyme.
How many more? How many more? How many more? How many more?
Oh, really? That's it? And the adults use these kids, doesn't matter what it is, to play this game where they can get them out there to, talk about, look at how you guys are being treated. Look how dangerous this is to live, and et cetera, et cetera. And it sucks. And we can all agree on that. And last week, 2 people didn't go home. One who had basically told the world what he was going to do, and the other one who didn't do anything. And it was awful. And we can understand and we can put that into a situation where you're like, okay, this box says it was awful, and this box over here is preventable if there's red flags. And then you open it up and you're like, oh my God, look at all the red flags in there. But everybody just shut the door over and over again. And that was horrible. Sad. Very, very sad. Coming up, today is National Holocaust Remembrance Day. We're going to talk a little bit about that. A bunch of other stuff. If you're missing the show, grab the podcast. Otherwise, we say shame.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. And right now, outside the state capitol, community activists have gathered a couple of hundred students to rally for gun control to be added to the special session.
We all deserve to live free from the fear of gun violence.
And they're also rallying against deportation of illegal immigrants. A new Chinese artificial intelligence model sending ripple effects across Silicon Valley, Washington, D.C., and Wall Street. Here's Mike Dubusky.
R1 is a new AI model that reportedly can match or outperform equivalent models from firms like OpenAI. Wedbush Securities' Dan Ives says it comes from a company called DeepSeek.
DeepSeek is a Chinese AI research lab.
The company says they were able to develop it for less than $6 million.
The claims should be clearly looked into, given it's China. I'd be shocked if it's $6 million.
From depression to diabetes to dementia, researchers are finding that exercise can reduce the risk of all of those diseases in older people. Jim Ryan tells us about a study published this morning in Canada.
Just 2.5 hours a week of moderate activity, something as simple as walking the dog, can have a major impact on overall health. With about 17% of Americans now over 65 years old, the authors of the study are urging physicians to prescribe exercise to their patients to avoid having to prescribe medications.
At the United Nations today, an observance of International Holocaust Remembrance Day exactly 80 years after the liberation of the Auschwitz death camp, where this survivor spoke at a ceremony in Poland.
We will never, never, ever allow history to repeat itself.
That's 86-year-old Tova Friedman, who was 6 years old when the camp was liberated, warning about rising levels of hatred and anti-Semitism in the world today. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Rough greens. My dogs love rough greens. My cat loves rough greens. And if you're like me and you love your animals, you want them healthy. Green is healthy, brown not so much. The stuff that you give your dog and cat, like we do at times, it's just not healthy. It's shelf stable. It's meant to be on a shelf for a while, but that's kind of what we do. But we do want to give them the best, and that's where Rough Greens comes in. This is going to enhance your cat and dog's food big time. It is a powdered supplement. You put it right on top of their food. They're going to love the taste. You'll love what it does for them. It's going to help them with their energy levels. It's going to help them with their aches and pains in their joints, their skin, their fur. It's going to help them with their digestive tract, their teeth, their gums. It is truly amazing. I want you to try a Jumpstart trial bag for free now. It's a $20 value. All they ask you to do is cover the cost of shipping. You can get this by going to roughgreens.com. That's ruffgreens.com using my code CHAD. You cover the cost of shipping. They get it out to you free, a $20 value for free. ruffgreens.com. Use code CHAD. Roughgreens.com. Code CHAD. So earlier we played Selena Gomez, who quickly took down her video.
I just wanted to say that I'm so sorry. All my people are getting attacked. The children. I don't understand. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I'll try everything, I promise.
She ugly cried. People are texting and going, yeah, that's exactly what happens. When I want to ugly cry, I'm just going to go right to my phone so I can put it on the internet. She took it down quickly because she realized that was stupid. That most Americans are like, no, we want this, right? And no, like, my buddy just texted me. So he's my former partner when we did an afternoon show in Phoenix. Not a fan of Trump. Goes, dude, I like everything he's doing right now. And this whole thing with Selena Gomez is ridiculous. They're not snatching families off the street and taking kids and stuff. They're going after the bad people.
Her people are being attacked. They're being attacked.
Who is? Who?
No, they're getting arrested, Selena. There's a difference. If they're here illegally, they get some cuffs.
So wait a minute. If your people are criminals, that's your people? I don't feel like you're a criminal. I mean, you should be charged with a crime for that movie, Emily Perez. But, I mean, that's a... Oh, yeah, okay, I'll play the song. Somebody's like, can you play the song again? I'm like, I'll play the song again. This is from the movie Emily Perez. Not 1, not 2, not 5, not 10, 13. 13 Academy Award nominations. This is the number of numbers about the cartel boss, transgender wants and needs being met by his private attorney, played by Zoe Saldana.
Hello, very nice to meet you. I'd like to know about sex change operation.
See.
Absolutely.
Wow. For me. What is the technique and the risks? Brings into me.
Good. It's better.
Yes. 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 What is that? Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it gets no better than that. That's what she should be ashamed of.
You know what? That song reminds me of the scene in Elf where Will Ferrell's character comes up with a song because his dad thinks it's one of those Christmas grams.
That's right. That's exactly what it is.
That is the stupidest song I've ever heard.
Like, he made it up. They're like, all right, come on in, and you guys just say whatever you want to say.
Do your song.
Do the song, and then we'll win an Academy Award because we're going to virtue signal. So, giggity. You should apologize to us for that, Selena. That's what you should be crying for. I'm so sorry. I mean, that movie is so horrible. And my Spanish isn't very good. My last name is Gomez. It's not very nice, Chad. Today marks 80th anniversary that the Russians, Soviets at the time, rolled on in to Auschwitz-Birkenau and liberated the camp. We always talk about, the fight that goes on where everybody's a Nazi. If you're conservative, you're a Nazi. If you're on the right, it's the far right. If, it's like, it's so ridiculous. And I think we need to remind people out there, when you say Trump's Hitler, he's an authoritarian. When you say all of these things, he's a fascist. I think we need to remind everybody what exactly that truly is. Because evil like that is nowhere near where you think Trump is. Hell, as bad as Biden was, none of that is anywhere close to how bad the real evil was. This is a survivor of Auschwitz. Now, she was 6 at the time. when they liberated the camp. And I want you to listen to her, because this is a woman who went through it as a young girl.
I stood and watched helplessly as little girls from the nearby barrack were marched away crying and shivering to the gas chamber.
To the gas chamber. Little kids being hauled off, pulled away from their parents. Oh, just like today. No, not like today. Because they weren't being pulled away from their parents because that hasn't happened. No, what was happening was they were on a cattle car, along with many, many others, packed into it, treated worse than beef or anything else. Then they would get there, and their heads would be shaved. And they would decide, okay, who gets to go to Auschwitz, which is kind of where you're going to go work? Who goes to Birkenau, which is where you're going to die? So we're either going to work you to death, or we're going to kill you immediately. So they shave the heads. And, oh, by the way, from there they go and they rip out all of the gold and the metal in your teeth, because they need that for the war effort. She's 6. My daughter's 6 at the time. I sit here and I think, can't even imagine, can't even fathom. So when I hear people go, Trump's just like Hitler. No, he's not. On your worst day of what you believe, he's not like Adolf Hitler. And you're delusional.
I thought that we all have to die, that it was normal. If you're a Jewish child, you have to die.
Think about that. And this is probably one of the last few years that we're going to have any Holocaust survivors that are still out there. I mean, there's more than probably World War II survivors, because you've got people like Tova here, who was 6 at the time. So 80 years, she's still 86. But most of World War II, they're dying at a high rate of speed. There's nothing left. And it's a shame. It really is. But what they went through, the horrors of what they went through, we don't know. We can't put words into those things. And this thought process that Donald Trump wants a secure border, so somehow he's just like Adolf Hitler, is ridiculous. This thought that somehow because Tom Homan is going to arrest people who are criminals, therefore that makes him like Hermann Goering, is ridiculous. But this is the world we live in now. So when we toss around the word Nazi, oh, he's a Nazi, he's a Nazi. When you toss around that word, think about how much you diminish and take away from what people actually went through. Think about that for a second. And many people can't, because we cannot fathom what it was truly like. We cannot understand what took place. We will never be able to wrap our heads around that at all. And thank God for that it hasn't happened, and never again is right. Ever again. Several of you have chimed in. Very excited about that song I played. Want to hear it more and more, I hear. What has one person said? Let the issue die. You realize gender dysphoria people get off on seeing normal people talk about issues, right? I do not recognize that, and I call BS on that. I'm going to call baloney on that one in a major way. And by the way, I wasn't talking about the gender dysphoria. I was just talking about how bad the song was. The song was horrible. That movie should never be nominated for an Academy Award. And again, I want to apologize to Madam Web, which I put in as the worst movie of the year. I watched this movie. It is not just the worst. It's the worst movie of all time. It is. It is the worst. And I've seen some horrible movies. I saw Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. And I thought, whoo, and you know what? Blows this movie away. In fact, I wish Winnie would have come out. If you don't know that movie, Winnie the Pooh.
I have never heard of that.
So, well, this year, many movies, and last year, many movies hit the 100-year mark or characters. So they're property for anybody. So Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey was about a movie about Christopher Robinson leaving Winnie the Pooh as a child, hanging out with him. And then when he gets to like 15, 16, he goes into London, lives his own life, and he brings his girlfriend, soon to be fiance, back to the 100-acre forest. except he was abandoned, Winnie the Pooh and all his friends. So what have they done? They've become bloodthirsty animals.
Wait a minute. Was this Ewan McGregor?
No, it could have been, though. Could have been. It was awesome. So they comes back, and he's an axe murderer. Oh, it's fantastic.
Well, let's be honest. He always was. It was just buried.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was spectacular. Like, it's like he comes back. He's like, what's wrong with you, Winnie? And Winnie's like, "Urgh," and Winnie, like, cuts his head off. And you're like, oh, Christopher. Oh, that didn't work out well. Tigger is evil, right? Like Roo and everybody. It's just awful. And so this year, they've got the new Popeye the Slayer Man. Good. I'm Popeye the Slayer Man. That's coming out. You've got a Steamboat Willie movie that it's about basically people on a steamboat thinking they're going to go have some fun, and there's actually oh boy coming out and killing everybody, which is hilarious.
Mickey Mouse?
Yeah, and the new Winnie the Pooh actually fights Cinderella in another movie.
Oh, yes.
So if you've got it, use it, kids.
I'm getting ready to say, man, somebody's using something.
Peter Rabbit, Blood and Honey. 2 is worse. Oh, my Lord. Somebody saw it. Fantastic.
There were 2 of them?
Yeah. Of course.
A follow-up.
That is, yeah, there's 2. Well, you know what? It cost $100,000 to make. So the guy made it, cost $100,000. It wasn't that bad as far as being shot for $100,000.
Right.
It made $9 million.
Make another one.
Yeah. Look, if I can make a movie for $100,000 and I can get it out there and it's going to make me $2, $3, $4, $5 million, I'll make them all day long.
Absolutely.
I mean, let's just keep them going. Let's go.
I might even make up a real stupid song to go in it.
Well, it couldn't be any stupider than that song about a wiener. Losing your wiener. What's wrong with Hollywood?
Man,
it's crazy.
It's bad.
It's bad, very bad. Coming up, we're going to wrap up the program for today on this beautiful Monday. Matt will be here. He's somewhere wandering around the place, and that way he can get a first look into the beauty that is our new studio. And if you're watching at home, let us know what you think. Ian and them did an amazing job this weekend, and I'm loving every second of this. This is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, happy Monday. Chad Benson Show. Joining me now, Matt Murphy of The Matt Murphy Show.
Hello.
So, what's up, brother? What do you think of the new digs?
I'm sniffing. No, I like it. No, I dig it. I stopped by. I had some business that brought me close by, and so I stopped by yesterday. And
I just missed you. I was here early.
Got a pre-glimpse. I know that you were here as well, and I dig it. It's very nice. It has more of a television studio quality to it, which it should.
Absolutely.
Considering that we're on TV now. And so I'm very excited. I would be more excited if I knew that we had a slight glimpse at the back of your bald head. But I don't think that's true.
We do. Just a very, very tiny sliver.
It's okay. There you go. I'm good with it. It's all good. It's
a good-looking head.
It is. Try. You know, some people can't shave their head. They look awful. I got fortunate.
Not me. Mine would be, I'm proof that God is real and that he's a just and kind God, because if I lost my hair, my head's all lumpy. My mama left me in the crib too long, and so it's all flat. Like if I look down at the ground like this at a 45-degree angle, you can set a Coke on top of my head.
Nice.
Just sit right up there.
What are you doing with your hair?
I don't know.
Are we letting it?
No, I've got to figure out. I've got to find. I would like to do some sort of, because I've had enough people that reached out to me and said, "Hey, I've grown my hair for one reason or another." You know, some people say, "Yeah, I was just growing it out because I was annoyed at the whole thing." Some people said I did it when you started doing it. And so I feel like there's enough of these people that maybe we can get a barbershop on board and do some sort of, 10% to veterans or 20% to veterans or something like that, and just kind of make it a thing.
That'd be very cool.
But I got to do something with it.
Do you have are you looking next month? Are you gonna try? Is there a specific length you're looking at here?
What, with this?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously not. I mean, this is just kind of.
Have you thought though?
He wants to give me a run for my money.
Have you thought? You look at Bell and you think, well, this hair's long.
I mean, look
he has no head,
and look at how well that's going for him.
It is going really well.
So
this is brutal.
I've thought vaguely about just going to a calendar year, which would be another month.
That's not bad.
March 1st would be the calendar year, and maybe that would give us an ability to.
Are you going to miss it?
No. I mean, it's life. I can grow it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I shave my head on purpose because I hate dealing with my hair. I have thick hair. I hate it, so I shave my head every day. Otherwise, my hair would look like you in a week.
Yeah.
And I hate it. I do. I absolutely hate it. I'm like, and then I was getting up super early and trying to mess with my hair and stuff.
So I heard briefly what you were talking about right before I came on. So you're telling me not to go see the Transgender Mafia Mexican musical?
No, it's not a win.
No,
it's
that's unfortunate.
It is. I thought it would be good,
on my list.
But I found out it was just the worst movie ever. 13 Academy Awards, more than The Godfather.
Well, it's all because they're just going to demonstrate.
It's all because it's great.
Just because how woke they are. I mean, they're going to shove it down your throat. No pun intended. But I did see a movie that has been nominated for an Academy Award over the weekend.
That is Substance, right?
I saw The Substance, which is a very, very interesting film. Do not watch it if you are not into gore horror, because you'll get a lot of
nudity.
Or nudity. You get a lot of that. It's interesting from a psychological standpoint because the messaging behind the film seems to be, to me, that we over glorify beauty and we need to embrace ourselves and we don't need to chase beauty like Hollywood does and like generally people do in life. And, it's a mistake to try to chase this beauty because it's a never-ending chase, and you're never going to accomplish what you want to accomplish. And the people that demand it are wrong for demanding it, the consumers. But for the first half of the movie, it's all Demi Moore and this younger chick, this younger version of Demi Moore, naked. And so they present that to you, and they suck the audience in, and you find yourself, well, what? You can't help but
Not
look.
going to say no to that.
And then at the end of the last 45 minutes, and if you've seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about. The last 45 minutes, they literally punish the audience for what they did during the first hour of the movie.
That's awesome.
It's very, very odd.
We this weekend we watched the new Jamie Foxx and a Cameron movie. What's her name? God, I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
Cameron Diaz.
Oh, yeah.
It was awesome. Fun, great. They're CIA spies. It's awesome. It's like an hour and a half on Netflix. It's just a fun movie. That's what I like. Popcorn and fun. Sure. I don't need wokeness, and I got enough gore because I do like horror movies, but, man, that was cool. What are you talking about today?
We'll talk first week. I mean, it's only been a week, believe it or not.
Feels like forever.
You know what? But the mainstream media, they're demanding more. More. Why haven't you done more on inflation?
Why are eggs so high?
Right. I love it. 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 Because every time they say it, it demonstrates to me how little they understand about free market economics. And we'll talk about that today. And we'll talk about the special session and Trump and some other stuff.
There you go. Matt Murphy coming up straight ahead. You guys have a blessed rest of your Monday. We'll do it again tomorrow. Keep it right here at Super Talk 99.7.